Thank you, Ron, and thank you, everybody. It's a great affair to be invited to. You guys are the best and the brightest in Hudson and Essex County. And we are grateful for Hudson and Essex County. Right now on our roster, we have 14 players actively from 2 counties alone. And several of them are starters and star players. But I always love when I get to recruit those 2 counties, the coaching, the football, and how much it means to you guys. And what you've done is you've set yourself apart in 3 areas. I wrote down football, academics, and your leadership. And I kind of want to get into that a little bit tonight. Before we do, we can never take a place like this for granted. If you've ever had to live, and I say have to, if you've ever had to live in Columbus, Ohio, right? When they say sausage and peppers, they're talking about Jimmy Dean's with a little shaky salt on it, right? They don't quite understand New Jersey food. So we are at a beautiful venue, and we ought to be thankful for that. Been here before, one of my favorite places. And when Rich Hansen called me and said, would you be able to do this? I usually can't do it. I usually have to say no because if I do it for one county, or I have to do it for all of them. But something told me on this one to say yes. So I said yes. See, I'm at the stage of my career where I can just kind of do the things that I want to do. And this was one that I wanted to do, fellas. Your 2 counties have been very good to Rutgers and to me personally as head coach. And I know those of you who are going to go on and play in college, you're going to make some other head coach very happy. And those of you who are not, and are going to go to school, you're going to make your parents proud and your school proud. Some of the things that I want to talk about are going to directly talk about that. But before I do, I want to recognize some people in the audience that came with me. Coach Malone played for me in my first stint at Rutgers. Then he came back and made some sacrifices to come back and be in a support role. And just this year, we've been able to promote him to be the tight ends coach. So Scott, I'm really proud of you. And again, he was a scholar in New York. But I can tell you, when I went to recruit him at St. Anthony's High School, he was just like you guys. Hardworking, tough football player, and a leader on his team. So Scott, it's great to have you here tonight. And Coach Colin Farrell is our newest addition. Comes to us as our D line coach from Kent State. And already, I think a lot of the coaches in Essex County and Hudson County know Coach, and it's going to be a very smooth transition. So you 2 guys, I appreciate you coming tonight. And then Dr. K, Dr. Kristofiak, the best team doctor that I've ever had, and I've been doing this a long time. Right? And I never thought I'd be able to replace the one that I had down in Tampa, but Dr. K blows them out of the water. So let's hear it for Dr. Kristofiak. Thank you, Doctor. Not only do we have current players on our roster from your counties, but boy, do we have some great ones in the past. You know, the ones who come to mind, Kenny Britt would be an All-American, first-round draft pick from Bayonne High School. Ray Lucas, right? Ray was a tremendous quarterback at Rutgers and then again in the National Football League. So when I think about the history of the counties in Rutgers, that's another reason that I said yes to come speak tonight. But the biggest reason that I wanted to speak tonight is you are our future leaders. You guys sitting at this table. You see, nobody goes to a family picnic, puts on a hard shell helmet, shoulder pads, and they go smacks the living you-know-what out of each other. That doesn't happen, right? They play basketball, they play with football, they'll play horseshoes, but they don't play tackle football. There's a reason. Very, very tough young men play tackle football. And I think it doesn't only build character, it reveals character. You guys have that character. When they talk about leadership, how do you lead? You lead by example. The way you play, the way you carry yourself in your school. And now you're going to go on to college and you're going to represent those schools. You're going to represent the great state of New Jersey with those same leadership abilities. I think back to when I was here the first time. I never thought I'd be speaking at a dinner like this with honored scholars. As a matter of fact, we went 1-11 in my second season. It was awful. At the end of the year, I get a call from the judge. Judge Barney Hoffman, he says, you got to come to court tomorrow. I said, what are you talking about? He says, come to court. Well, I'm scared to death. I walk into court down in New Brunswick, and there's a kid on the stand, and his parents are sitting on different sides, and they're fighting over custody for little Johnny. And little Johnny gets called up to the front, and he says, I don't want to go with either one. And so, in my chambers, right now. And the little guy walks back to the chambers, and he goes, Coach. I'm sitting there, what is going on now? Why am I here? And the judge says, Johnny, why won't you go with your mom? No, please don't send me to my mom. She beats me. So, what is going on? Well, then, Johnny, we're going to send you to your dad. No, my dad, he beats me too. And I'm sitting there going, boy, this poor kid. He said, well, where would you like to go? He said, how about Coach Shano? He don't beat anybody. I said, oh boy, this is going to be a tough stint, this Rutgers job. Well, I'll tell you what, we were able to find our way, and we got as high as 6th in the country, and I'm very proud of that. But the job was to be number one, and I believe New Jersey deserves number one. You guys deserve number one. Right? So what are some things that you say to some of the best and the brightest that are going off and do all different things? I'm going to tell you one thing that I tell our staff and I tell our players. Be that guy. What do you mean, Coach? Be that guy. Be the guy that your coach relies on. Be the guy that your teammates rely on. Be the guy that your friends, your girlfriend, your family relies on. Now, how do you do that? Oh, God, Coach, don't put so much pressure on me. I got a funny feeling you guys can handle that pressure. But I'm going to give you a little roadmap. Something I share with our team. I believe you can't focus on a lot of things. 3 is basically the limit, and I'm going to give you 3. Family, trust, and child. Family is an acronym. It stands for Forget About Me, I Love You. Now, I don't think love is a mushy-mushy, ooh. No, I think love is really tough stuff. Because I think love is sacrifice. When you're willing to sacrifice for your teammates, you're willing to sacrifice for your girlfriend, you're willing to sacrifice for your family. That's love, guys. I'll never forget, 2006, we had a heck of a year. We were 11-2. And it actually became kind of a tough thing to be the head coach in New Jersey, to have any private time. And I'm down at Point Pleasant, right? We all like Point Pleasant. And at the gym in Point Pleasant, I'm jogging on the treadmill. And then up walks this girl, this woman, and she's like, and I'm like, my big head at this point, I'm saying, oh, I got to sign another autograph. Please, I'm just trying to get a workout in. And so I take out my headset. I said, yeah. She goes, do you know the answer to that? She points to my wrist. I had a What Would Jesus bracelet do on my wrist. She said, do you know the answer to that? I said, I don't understand what you mean. She goes, the answer is family. Forget about me. I love you. That's what Jesus would do. And I sat there and I went, woo. I felt about this big, right? I'm thinking this pretty lady's coming over to get an autograph and she's bothering me. And instead, she was teaching me a lesson, put me in place. Can you do that? Can you be a sacrificial teammate? Can you be a sacrificial friend? That's hard to do. Why? Because it's putting someone else in front of you. That's not human nature. And as I tell our team all the time, human nature's been around for a long time, guys. Like as long as humans. So it's a real tough opponent. You got to get a great scouting report on them. And then you got to be prepared because human nature will try to get you. But if you can learn, first and foremost, to put others before yourself, you're going to go a long way. And you're going to be a loved young fellow. And you're going to end up being a loved old fellow someday. Second thing, trust. Remember I said there was 3 things. Family was number 1. Trust. No, that's a simple term, right? We have our own definition. It has 2 parts. The first part, 100% honesty. That's a tough one, guys. See, every time, if we have a dealing together and you're always honest, I don't catch you in little lies, because there's no such thing as little lies. You're either honest or you're not. But if every time we deal together, you're honest, we're going to start to trust each other. The second part, I told you there's two parts to trust. The second part, do what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it. The second part, when you're supposed to do it, is tough. Right? Because it's easy to put things off. But do what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it. So if every time we deal together, every time we have any kind of interaction, you're telling me the truth, and you're doing what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it, all of a sudden a lot of people are going to trust you. So now you're a sacrificial dude, and you're telling the truth and doing what you say you're going to do. Guess what? People are really going to be attracted to you and want to follow you. That's called being a leader. And the last part, family trust, what was the last word? Do you remember? Chop. Chop. Chop goes way back, guys. 2005. We hadn't been to a bowl game yet. We go out to Illinois. We're playing Illinois. This is before we're in the Big Ten. We have them scheduled out of conference. We go out to Illinois. We take a 28-7 lead. It's the fourth quarter. I'm sitting there, finally, we got this thing. So they scored 28-14. Okay, we'll be all right. Oh, they score again, 28-21. Whew, it's starting to get hot, right? They tie the game up. And then they win it in overtime. I'm in my fifth year now, and we haven't been to a bowl game. You know what happens in that fifth year when you don't go to a bowl game, right? And I get on the plane, I get on the bus, and my wife, who never traveled, we had a little kid, she never travels. That game she traveled with us. I get on the bus, she says, "What's wrong with you?" Because I was down, and she goes, I said, I don't know if we're going to make it. I said, I never heard you talk like that. The whole ride home, I'm watching the game tape on the computer on a plane, and I'm not watching anything. I'm just thinking, how am I going to get this team back? And then it took me back to a sports psychologist by the name of Kevin Elko. In 1999, I was at University of Miami. He gave us a speech about a guy who was lost in the forest, and all he had was an axe. And he could either lay down and die, or he could pick up that axe and pick one tree up, just one, and start chopping away. But you've got to keep your eyes focused on the spot. Because if you've ever chopped a tree down, when you start to chop it, if you miss that spot, you're just wasting your time. You got to keep hitting it on the spot, hitting it on the spot, hitting it on the spot, and bombs start to go off, fellas. And you're going to face those bombs when you go to college. What are they? Relationship bombs, girlfriend bombs, academic bombs, coaches that aren't fair bombs, injury bombs. But you must, guys, you must stay focused and just keep hitting that spot over and over and over and over again. Because I promise you, if you keep doing it, eventually the tree falls. But most guys get frustrated. Most guys keep looking at the bombs that are going off, and they keep missing and missing, and eventually like, I can't do this. Baloney. You most definitely can. You're the best and the brightest in your schools. Well, I'm going to college, it gets harder. Yeah, it does get harder. Good for you. You're raising the stakes, fellas. And you may not be going to Rutgers to play for me, but I look at it as the head coach of the State University of New Jersey. You're all my kids. I'm supposed to be the leader in this state about college football, about high school football, about youth football, because it's the greatest game in the world. Why are 70% of the CEOs in this country of businesses, right? The people who run those businesses, why are 70% or more have played at least high school football? Because it's the ultimate game. It requires teamwork. It requires leadership. It requires toughness. You guys have played that game and you've played it really well. That's why you're sitting here tonight. Good football players, really good football players, really good students. And that last part, leaders. Don't be afraid to be a leader. Family, trust, shop. 3 words I want you to remember going forward. It's my honor to speak to you guys, the National Football Foundation Hall of Fame. What a tremendous organization, right? To recognize the best and the brightest, the guys that have put it on the line. Utmost respect for you guys. I'll be rooting for you. I check the paper, or now I check the internet, and I look for all New Jersey guys that are playing away from home. Good luck if you're doing it, and good luck if you're going to be a student. Go get your degree and get ready for life. You guys are special. Thank you.